What's up, guys? Silver here with part 8 of our Halo Reach LASO playthrough. We are on the package, the second to last mission. We're going to start in here by DMRing some of these enemies from far away. You could run up to the right, and if you take the right path, you could hijack one of the ghosts and just peace out of this section. But this section is not too hard to just deal with, and I do want to grab some fuel rod ammo from these grunts up ahead here. So I'm just going to take all these guys out nice and slowly and surely. These guys can mostly just be taken down by headshots. Some of the grunts have the helmet on, obviously, so we got to headshot them a couple times to knock that off, and then finish them off with the third headshot that will actually follow through into their cranium and take them out for good. But the grunts that have the fuel rods actually have no helmet on at all, so they'll just go down with one shot. And obviously, we want to prioritize the turrets up here. There's one on top of the building opposite us when we spawn in, so we're going to take this guy out. Just poke your head over the edge here, use the rock for cover. It's pretty easy to take them out. You might have to poke your head out a few times because they do have the helmets on. So this guy will shoot a little bit, wait till he stops shooting, then poke our head out again, take a couple more shots, finish him off. So there we go. And there might be an enemy that hops into that second turret that we took out, but no enemies will hop back into the first turret we took out because it is inaccessible to them. It's on the roof, and they cannot climb up there. But we'll take out these guys. Be aware of the grunts kind of around the arc in front of us, because you don't want to get flanked by a fuel rod grunt especially. And we took out the focus rifle Jackal, who's up in that sniper nest up there as well, so be aware of him. We're going to move up here into this section, and there's two ghosts in this section, but they're really easy to take out. We're just going to finish off these grunts here before we deal with them, though. Oh god, that was a fuel rod. Thank god he did not shoot. We're going to move ahead here, grab the fuel rod so we can start collecting some of that ammo. That is a needler. There we go, that's a fuel rod. So we'll grab that, and there's DMR ammo in here, plenty of DMR, so we shouldn't run out. But it's really easy to deal with these remaining two ghosts by standing in that doorway, and then the ghosts will just come up to the doorway, and you can just hijack them real quick, and they can't really shoot at you until they're like right up on you, and you could just board them easily and kill them with their own ghosts. So we took the first one out. We're going to go back into the doorway for the second one, and just wait here. They just drive right up, just hijack them, and if they're not really driving up to the doorway there, just kind of shoot your gun a couple times to get their attention, and then you will be able to hijack them once they drive on over. And now I'm just collecting fuel rod ammo, so I'm just kind of walking around the arc here, the perimeter where the grunts were facing us when we initially spawned into this mission. I didn't really pay attention to where they were when I killed them, but I'm just going to drive in a nice little arc here, just picking up that fuel rod ammo as I come across it. Here's some fuel rod right here. Hop out, grab that. And obviously grab plasma grenades as you see them. I think I am full on those, so I cannot pick up any more. But I thought I killed something over here, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm just looking around at this point. And one of my ODST buddies is just sitting in the lake. Just water at chest level. He's fine with it, though. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to leave him there. We're going to boost behind this tank with the ghost to avoid as much fire as possible, and then we're going to hop into the tank, and we're going to take out this turret that's mounted on the sniper perch up here, the sniper tower. So blow that up as soon as you get in, and we're going to move forward butt first. That's right, you heard me. We're going butt first. Kind of similarly in previous guides when I mentioned that the enemies generally like to shoot you in the chest. We could expand that to vehicles. They basically shoot where you are in the vehicle. So since I'm kind of in the middle front of the vehicle there, they don't actually shoot your butt. So if I just stick my butt out, which is where the gun is, I could kind of shoot all of these guys without risking taking any fire. So just stick your butt out, which is where your gun is. Aim your gun at all the enemies over there. They will not shoot you because you're kind of in the middle of the tank, and the middle of the tank is not exposed to them. So you're pretty safe at this point. The only thing that's annoying about this section is the fact that the tank's targeting reticle does not line up with a normal targeting reticle. So one of the workarounds for the blind skull, you could actually put a makeshift reticle on your screen, just go into a custom game before going into LASO and pick up a sniper, and then you could kind of, with whatever means you want to use, you could kind of put a reticle on your screen manually. So what I do is I put a small square piece of scotch tape over my targeting reticle in a custom game when I'm holding the sniper, and then I trace the sniper rifle's circle for the targeting reticle onto that piece of scotch tape. So when I go into LASO, I could actually use that to see where I'm aiming. But when you're in a vehicle or when you're on a turret, those targeting reticles actually don't line up with your usual normal first-person regular gun targeting reticle, like a DMR or a concussion rifle or rockets or an assault rifle or something, which is a long way of saying I'm going to make some pretty poor shots throughout this mission because it's a very vehicle-heavy mission. You start off with the tank, really, for the most part, and we're just going to drive to sword base, and then we're just going to speed in there, and we're going to do a little bit of fighting on foot, but then we're really going to spend the rest of the mission in either a Banshee or a Wraith at the end. So we are going to make our way slowly up here and be aware of the shade turret that's in this area. We took it out a little earlier, but it's tough to find. Even if you know it's there, it's tough to spot. It blends in really well with the terrain and everything. So just lay waste to the area, bombard the whole area with a bunch of Scorpion rounds. You have infinite ammo, so just kill the shade turret. Once you do, you can move forward. And also remember that there's 2 ghosts up on the incline here, so before we move forward, we want to take those 2 out, and then we could safely move up here. I'm going to speed this part up a little bit to save some time. And as we come up this slope, we're going to see that there's a big anti-air gun in the distance, so we're going to take it out from far away. There's 2 up here, and your objective is to take out both of them. And there's no reason to get close and personal and take a bunch of damage. We could just take them out with our tank from back here. Then there's going to be 4 or so jackals up here to the right, so we're going to blast them back. We don't necessarily have to kill them, but I just don't want them, taking pot shots at me. So if I kill them, that's great. If they run for cover, that's fine too. Either way. And we're just going to lay into this second turret as well. You can see in the distance now. Again, no reason to get close. There's a bunch of enemies in the area up there, so we're just going to take it out from back here, nice and safe. These Banshees might take a shot or 2 at you, but they shouldn't really get at you too much. So we're just going to refocus on the turret up here. And we're just going to employ the same strategy we did in Tip of the Spear, which is just hang back and take out these turrets from far, far away. And once turrets number 1 and 2 are taken out, we are going to move on to the next section. We're basically going to run past all of the enemies that are remaining in this area, just blaze right through. We're going to hug the right side and just keep on moving. You could shoot your weapon if you want. You don't have to, probably. And we're going to just keep on going here past these guys. Just totally ignore them. Don't talk to strangers. Roll up the windows. Lock the doors. We're moving on. And once we move past this section, we are safe from the enemies behind us at least. They won't follow us into this next section. But the danger lies ahead. There is a fuel rod wielding grunt on the sniper tower up here, so take that out. You could kind of get a shot on it on the right side. Just shoot to the right of those trees, and you should be able to nail that thing. There's also some grunts on the ground here and some ghosts. So take your time. Take these guys out. Again, there's no rush. This is not a LASO speed run. It's not even a speed run, but it is a LASO, so I guess there's that. We got one more enemy up here. He is a ghost. We're going to take him out. Maybe we won't. And there we go. We got him this time. So we're going to move ahead here, and this tank is in really good shape. That butt-first strategy is excellent. Look at this thing. It's brand new. We're going to move forward here. We're going to get that achievement, if you haven't gotten it already, where you keep the tank intact until this section up here. You'll get it this time around. But we're going to go butt-first, that butt-first strategy up this incline here, and we're going to poke our head out here, or poke our butt out, I guess. And we're going to aim for up there. There's a turret. And this is a good time to have the scoring on because you could see you get a score that pops up whenever you kill something. So it's kind of tough to see in the distance sometimes if you've killed something. But with this scoring on, you could see easily when you get that kill. So very useful in this scenario. One of many. So we took out that turret. We took out that Revenant. And you could see this turret actually sees us enough to shoot at us. We're like in his range of vision, but we're not in his range for his gun, unfortunately for him. So he's just firing at us. And we're just outside that effective range for that gun. The bullets just disappear into nothingness like right before they hit us. So we've taken out 2 Revenants, 2 Shades, and also a Grunt just there, a Fuel Rod Grunt. And also there's going to be a Shade behind this tree/rock right here. And you want to make sure when you're taking this guy out that you don't accidentally blow up the empty ghosts that are over here on the right, because we're actually going to use one of those in a second. So make sure you keep one of those alive at least. But we take that guy out, do a little butt-first action. And the final turret up ahead here is a deadly one. It's a fuel rod turret, and he's up on the mountain ahead here. Kind of tough to see. One of the other difficult to spot shade turrets. They blend in with the terrain really well on this mission. Oftentimes I don't even see him until he starts firing at me, and then I'm like, oh, those are fuel rods flying in my direction. Maybe I should retreat a little bit, and I do. So we retreat until we stop seeing that fuel rod bombardment into the wall that we're kind of hiding behind, and then we could stick our butt out again and try again. And we'll get him eventually. There he goes. And we will move on. And we're almost done with this section. There is one more Revenant up ahead here at the end. So we're going to go back into sword base, basically, and there's going to be a Revenant in our way. And he thinks he's going to stop us, but that's not going to be the case. I'm going to spoil the video for you. The Revenant does not live. We're going to move up here, and we're going to spot him, and then we're going to kill him. Maybe not yet, but we'll keep firing at him. We'll keep trying. We're going to do it. I already spoiled it for you. And he has perished as promised, and we are going to move up here. Just hang out in your tank if you would like to get that achievement to pop. The one that is like, hey, your tank's still in good shape here, or at least alive and working. And you're at this point in the mission. So it gives you the achievement. It'll pop right there. And then we're going to get out, because that's not what this video is about. We are going to move back here to one of the ghosts that I was mentioning. And actually, I'm going to go grab some fuel rod turret. There was that fuel rod grunt that I killed. And I'm going to grab some of his ammo before we head to that ghost. And you know what I should have done now in retrospect, now that I'm providing commentary for this video, is I should have grabbed the fuel rod ammo from that grunt we killed on the sniper tower. Kind of right before this section to the right. There's some ammo lying over there, and I just totally just ignored it. Go grab that if you would like. But you probably want to see what we're going to use it for first. But trust me, it's going to be useful. We're going to move up here with the ghost, and we're basically going to just sprint past everybody, or boost past everybody. And we're going to go up here, follow this path, and we're going to drift to the right a little bit, and then we're going to gun it down this straightaway here. There's going to be a grunt or two that are going to be straddling the door there with turrets set up, but you should be able to get past them. There's a health pack on the ground there, so you could get full health and shield. And then we're going to move up here, and we're going to have a DMR at this point with our fuel rod gun. And this is why I like to use the fuel rod, or grab the fuel rod. I like to blast these jackals here that are on the right with the fuel rod, because they like to hide behind their shield, and they don't like to expose their head. And I can't headshot them if they're behind their shield, so I just like to bury them with fuel rod ammo. But first we have to take out these skirmishers as they encroach on my position, but they're easy enough to take out. We have a DMR with full ammo, so we should be able to get through this section fairly quick, or not quickly, but fairly easily if we take our time. So the opposite of quickly, but not a terribly long amount of time. We're going to, steadily push forward. We're going to take out these guys. I'm going to switch to my fuel rod eventually and just kind of shove them back with it, / kill them. I'm hesitating for some reason. I don't know why. But here we go. We're pushing them back. And now I'm running away like a coward, which is not 100% necessary to get through this mission. I'm concerned about my shields and health at this point, so I just ran away. And we're going to move up here again, push them back some more with that fuel rod, miss a shot or two on the door frame, and we'll hopefully take these guys out in this volley here. And then we could press forward. Once we kill these two jackals, it gets a lot easier because you can move forward, and Noble Team actually moves into this area. So I don't do it here in this walkthrough. I forgot to do this. But if you move up that ramp and just go to that first corner that the ramp is on, you could actually get Noble Team to move forward if you move into this corner right now. So I kind of stopped short a little bit, so I didn't get Noble Team to move forward just yet, but I think they eventually do get the idea. They're like, hey, he almost went into that corner. Maybe we should go over there. But go into that corner more assertively than I did, and you'll get Noble Team to move up, and that will take a lot of the heat off you because the jackals will be distracted by Noble Team as well. And, of course, Noble Team will be chipping in by, landing the occasional shot on the enemies. But when I took that field trip to almost go in the corner, I actually grabbed one of the needler rifles from one of the fallen enemies, and you could actually shoot the needler rifle through the catwalks here. So you're going to see me be looking straight up at an enemy, and I'm just going to headshot them really easily through the floor. And they won't have any defense against it because they can't shoot through the floor back at me. So we're going to land some headshots here, and then we won't have to worry about, exposing ourselves to a more vulnerable position to take these guys out. This is easy enough, but it looks like Noble Team is finally moving into that corner we want them to. So that is good news. They will provide distraction and additional firepower, and we will just kind of hang here. I like to hang under this catwalk that I'm at right now because I could headshot those skirmishers as they walk by, and also I have a good view of all of the angles that the enemies can shoot me from. So I could see the second and third catwalk up there. But this is one of those types of sections that's kind of tough to start, but it gets easier and easier as you go. Obviously, as we clear these catwalks, there's less and less angles for them to shoot at us from. And I should have been more aggressive with the fuel rod to start. Once I took out all of the enemies that I could easily headshot, I should have just really let loose on those two jackals that were on the first catwalk here, because those two guys were really the only ones that were pinning me in here. So you should really just use your entire fuel rod store for just those two jackals, which you could easily take them out with. But I was kind of hesitant for some reason. I was second-guessing what I was doing. I had to commit, but I did not. But we got through it anyway. We're moving through here. But we started off here with a bunch of DMR ammo, and there's actually more DMR ammo in the crate right next to the door that we entered this area from. So keep filling that back up as you need to. But we're getting close to the end here. We have a focus rifle guy up here on top. That is one of the last enemies that spawns in, so we took him out. There are still some jackals up here with shields, which we don't like because they're tougher to shoot through the grate a little bit. If you get the right angle, you could still do it. But they're just tougher to shoot in general because they have the shield, of course, which makes them annoying. But I think I'm going to go grab the fuel rod cannon again because there are some jackals with shields over here now above the doorway that we came through. So I'm going to wrap around and take them out by brute force, sheer brute force of the fuel rod just barraging their shields. So we'll lay into them with a few rounds with this, push them back, and hopefully just straight up kill them. Not even just make them retreat, just get them out of the way. And it looks like that did the trick, so we're going to keep going forward here. And up at the top here, we have our jackals with shields that we were under before. So we're going to take these guys out as well, of course. So we're just going to, take our time, do what we got to do. I'm going to lay into them with my needler rifle, which is going to make them dodge due to the fact that the tough luck skull is on. So that's something you could do against elites, which we've seen before in previous guides where I kind of shoot at them to get them to dodge so I could wrap around behind them and easily assassinate them. But with this scenario, I'm just going to shoot them 3 times with the needler rifle because they don't have any shielding. So 3 shots will make them super combine and explode. But we've cleared out this section, and what you want to do at this point is grab as much DMR ammo as possible. There's the crate on the bottom floor, and there's also a crate of DMR on the 3rd floor of the catwalk. So grab that as you are moving up and around this spiral area, and we'll skip ahead. As you can see, we've skipped ahead here, and Noble Team is now blocking my way into here, but we're going to move forward, shove them out of the way, and there's going to be a plasma pistol on the ground here. Grab that. So we have a DMR and a plasma pistol now going into this next section. We're going to run around here. More ammo on the rack right there with that ammo crate. And then we're going to open this door, just walk up to it, and there's going to be a bunch of invisible elites. And I'm going to try to take out this engineer real quick, but I actually get shot out of that position. I don't usually rush into the middle there. I don't actually advise that. I just was going to try to get the jump on the engineer, and I did not. But we're going to try to take the engineer out as soon as possible. But these elites are right in our face, so we're going to actually kind of hang back, and we're going to shoot these elites with the plasma pistol. Not with an overcharge burst like a regular noob combo, but with just a bunch of rounds of regular, just pulling the trigger as fast as you can. And it actually takes down the shields of these elites pretty quickly, and you don't actually lose that much ammo when you do it. So it's very good at taking the shields down quickly, A, but also B, you don't lose much ammo. So a win-win right there for us at least, not for the elites. But we're going to keep doing that and just kind of be patient, just kind of hang back here. But once you take out some of the elites, the remaining elites will probably fall back, and then you can move up a little bit. And you can see I'm using this crate here for cover. It's actually really good to use for cover. It's pretty effective, and then you could always duck behind the crate so you're entirely covered by the cover. And then that way you're totally safe, obviously, when you're behind it entirely. So if you're starting to get shot a little bit, you could just duck down, then wait just a couple seconds, and you will be able to pop back up and continue shooting these guys because they'll obviously... the elites will kind of reassess their situation and return their attention to Noble Team, which is not undercover. They're kind of just standing out in the middle of the room because, I don't know, they like getting shot at. But we're going to take out that engineer. The engineer, obviously, if it is close enough to the elites, will provide the elites with additional shielding, so we don't want that. We want to take out the engineer as soon as possible so we can avoid that. And we'll just continue shooting these guys. Sometimes it's quicker to kill these guys than others. Sometimes they will show you their best Noble Team impression, which is just standing there and taking hits. Other times they'll dodge a little more and kind of hide behind crates and not come up from the crates for a while. They'll just kind of sit there, crouch behind it. So it makes it a little tougher and more time-consuming to actually deal with them. So this guy looks like he was behind a crate. I blew the crate away. I don't know where he is now. But, oh, there he is. We're going to pepper him. Where'd he go? There he is. Get him. Get him. So we'll pepper this guy. His shield pops, finish him off with a headshot. And then once you clear out all of the invisible elites, this guy will pop up. And you don't want to move forward because if you move forward, he will actually retreat. And then he's harder to deal with if he retreats. So we'll just kind of hang back here and we could just shoot him from far away. And that way we obviously don't risk ourselves as much as if we were all up in his business and he could shoot us more easily and smack us, and that would not be good. But we're pretty safe back here, so just pepper him from afar, and then we could finish him off with the headshot once his shield does eventually pop. Sometimes he dodges more than others like the other elites, but he doesn't really have anything to hide behind up there. So he usually does return to the top of the ramp right there pretty quickly. So no worries with him kind of hiding and then never coming back out again like some of the invisible elites tend to do sometimes. But this is taking a little longer than normal. Probably because it's LASO. I'm comparing it to regular legendary here. But we finally took him out. We're going to go over here, grab some additional DMR ammo. Not that we're really going to use it. I just like to have it if it's there. If it's available, why not pick it up? So we're done with this section, and what I'm going to do now is make sure I have full health and shielding going into the next section. So I'm going to walk up against this wall, and I'm going to overcharge Plasma Pistol the wall, and that splash damage from that burst will actually hit the wall, then splash onto me, and it will lower my shields and health enough so I could pick up a health pack. Because if your health is full, you actually won't be able to pick up a health pack, so we lowered it a little bit so we could grab that, get full shields and health, move on to the next section. But now that we're in the next section, what is there to do around here? I'll tell you what there is to do. We could grab a jetpack, we could grab a banshee, we could grab a wraith. We're going to do all three of those things. So let's go down here. We're going to go as fast as possible, so sprint your way over here. We're going to exchange our sprint for the jetpack. The jetpacks are actually lying on the wall, or not lying on the wall, but kind of hanging off the wall. And so you won't have a big glowing white jetpack logo like you would normally when you're picking up jetpack, but they're on the wall there, so grab one of those, and we're going to jetpack up to the top of this building here. And I'm just kind of shooting my gun a little bit to get the attention of the banshees. They will take interest usually and come fly over here. Fortunately, they don't really attack you that much, and you'll be able to easily jetpack up to them as they slowly kind of meander over here. So once you grab it, we're going to use it to fly to all of the spider turrets, which are located on the map. There's 4 of them, and we're also going to use it, the banshee, to just blow all the people up here for a little bit until we get the wraith. So we're going to fly around, land at all of the turret locations, and we're going to activate them because they are super helpful. Even if they don't do that much damage to any of the enemies, they will take off the health of some enemies, even pick some enemies totally off. But the real thing is the distraction factor. So we're going to activate all of these guys and try to keep them up and running as long as possible for the duration of the rest of the mission. But we'll see how well that goes. But as you go, just pick these enemies off with the Banshee Bomb. You could always, keep your distance as well, because it's tempting to fly in close to these guys and try to splatter them or get one last Banshee Bomb in or something like that. But the closer you get to these guys, the higher the risk of you getting Plasma Pistoled, Overcharged Plasma Pistoled, which would stun you and you would fall out of the sky. And then you would be vulnerable to getting additionally Plasma Pistoled. And you would continue to be stunned and you can't even move for a while. They could keep you on the ground for a while, and then by the time you're back up in the air, you're back up in the air in pieces because you've been stuck a couple times and your Banshee is in shambles and you're dead. But speaking of dying, if you do die, just hit start immediately. That's the workaround for the Iron Skull if you're playing solo. Normally it would send you back to the beginning of the mission, which would be awful. But if you just hit start right after you die, immediately after you die, hit start and then go to save and quit, and then you'll be sent back to the lobby, and then just hit resume on the playlist, and you'll be able to load back in at your last checkpoint, whatever that was. Even though the game is not showing you checkpoints, that's because of the blind skull. You are still getting them. You just can't see the text pop up that says checkpoint because the blind skull's on. So we're going to continue killing all these people. I ignore the banshees for the most part because if you kill a banshee, it'll just be replaced by another banshee, so there's no real point, and they're not that aggressive anyway. And once you kill enough of these enemies, the wraith will spawn in, and we'll switch to that. But for now, we're bansheeing, bro. So we're just going to fly around, and a good thing to do is to attack enemies that are distracted as well. So you can see these guys are kind of focused on Noble Team up here, and you could also focus on enemies that are distracted by the turrets as well that we set up. So we're going to fly in now that the Wraith has been dropped off, and we're going to fly in directly behind the Wraith, and you could Plasma Pistol and shoot this gunner of the Wraith off from behind here, but if you don't have a Plasma Pistol, we could always just jump on top of the Wraith and just punch him to death. So I'll show you what to do if you didn't have a Plasma Pistol. The ideal way to do this is to Plasma Pistol this guy from afar and then shoot him with a headshot. But if you don't have a Plasma Pistol, if you forgot to grab it or something, you could just jump on here. And you want to make sure you are in between the Wraith Mortar and this gunner on the front, because if you're kind of on top of the Wraith Mortar, he's going to shoot it and you're going to just get shot from right behind and get killed. So make sure you're right up on that gunner if you do decide to board and kind of smack him like that. But we're going to have to board the front and then punch it twice to get the hatch off. And then once the hatch is off, we'll be able to actually hop on top of this thing And this Wraith is scripted to just fire at the Noble Team's position the entire time, so it's not scripted to attack you. The only thing that would attack you is the gunner on the front. This main driver guy does not care that you're in the area. He will just ignore you the entire time while you kill him. And like I said I would do, I'm going to reactivate this spider turret as much as possible, as often as I can, because they are very helpful. And we're going to hop back in the Wraith. And similar to the Scorpion, the Wraith is kind of tough to shoot because your targeting reticle does not line up with the normal targeting reticle that you may have put on your screen as a makeshift targeting reticle to combat some of the effects of the blind skull. But we're over here now reactivating this turret as well. These turrets stay online as long as they're not really getting shot that much. They do have health, so once their health is totally depleted, they kind of shut down and they have to cool down for a little bit, and then you could reactivate them after a short period of time. So you do have to come reactivate these things every now and then once they get shot too much. So we're going to move forward here. And I don't want to get flanked, so I'm kind of not really wanting to move forward because there could be enemies coming from the bottom right side of the map. But there's also enemies up at the left where Noble Team is. So I'm kind of pinched here. It's not great to be pinched. No one likes being pinched. But for the most part, this mission is pretty repetitive at this point, just from the fact that we're going to effectively, strats-wise, be doing the same thing, which is kind of carefully be staying back and shooting all of these enemies from far away with our Wraith. There are going to be a bunch of phantoms that drop off enemies in various locations on this map, but what we really want to pay attention to is the dialogue that comes from Catherine Halsey, Dr. Halsey. Basically, whenever she says something, that means another wave of enemies are coming in, so we want to put ourselves in a position, which I will show you shortly. And you'll also know a new wave is coming if the music changes. So if the music changes or you hear Halsey, we're going to go into this position that I'm going to show you. So before we do that, we're going to just clear out the remaining enemies here. And then we'll probably get one of those cues, and I will tell you what Halsey says, what to listen for. So we're going to curl to the right here, see if there's any enemies over here. Nope, we have cleared out a nice safe position for us over here. We are no longer pinched by the enemies, which is good. So we don't have to worry about any enemies coming from behind us now. We have a nice safe spot over here. If we ever need to retreat and take refuge, we could back up. We're going to activate this turret like we like to do. And this turret is very useful, this one in particular, because I like to hang around here. But Halsey just came over the radio and said, "Hold on, Spartans, I'm getting close." So when that happens, you want to come down here, and we're going to hide kind of in this position. And in this position, we're pretty safe. None of the enemies that are dropped off come back to shoot at us here. They just move up towards the top of the map, the area that we're supposed to be defending. And this Phantom you could actually take out if we were on a lower difficulty, but I don't think you could do so on LASO before he runs away. So we're just going to, shoot at him anyway, even though we can't kill him, just in case we get a lucky shot or something. But we're going to focus on the enemies that are dropped off once the Phantom leaves. So the Phantom actually could do a lot of damage to you with his plasma turret. So we're going to just kind of wait for him to leave before we make a move. And then we could kind of just sneak up behind these guys and take them out as they're going up the hill here. So this is a very effective strategy. Not only are we getting the jump on these guys as they kind of run away from us, but we're also very safe here because we're not really surrounded by any additional groups of enemies. We just have the one set of enemies in front of us that we focus on. We don't have to worry about anybody coming from the left or the right or behind us. Just stare straight ahead and keep firing. So on top of the enemies that were dropped off where we are, there's also enemies that were dropped off where we spawned into this mission. So basically straight ahead of us and kind of up to the left, there's a bunch of enemies that will come down the hill. And there's also some enemies that spawn to the left of us where we basically hijack this Wraith. So we want to worry about not only the enemies in front of us, but also the flankers from the left. And your biggest priority should be to kill the ghosts as fast as possible for this wave because they could do a lot of damage pretty quickly. And you will find yourself not as nimble as them. So if they are kind of nearby, you won't be able to really get away as quickly as they could follow you. So you want to stay far away and lay into them with these incredibly inaccurate Wraith shots. We could just stay here all day. There's no time limit, no rush. So we're just going to hang back and shoot them from the safety of this area over here, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it home for the time being. We're just going to hang out here. And then we could, move up a little bit more once the ghost is taken out. But you just want to be aware of enemies coming from the left because remember that they spawned over there, so they could be over there. But that's why I really like this turret to my right, because if this turret to my right is going off, I know that there's some enemy nearby, probably straight up ahead and to the left a little bit, that I can't see who's like kind of on my flank there. I don't know what was happening there. There was an elite stuck like in the rock in between the debris in that rock or something there. But we took him out. That was strange. But again, this turret is very useful, the one to my right, because it'll be going off if there's an enemy just around the corner to my left here, And that's useful information to have because I don't want to stick my nose out and then get stuck or plasma pistoled so I get stunned or whatever. I don't want it. I don't want it. And also, the turret just does damage. So there's that too, which I like. I like it doing damage to the Covenant. I said it. I'm not taking it back either. But we're going to just keep doing it. Keep firing this thing. This thing has to be heating up and overheating at some point. We're going to keep going, though. We have no concern for the equipment of the Covenant, so we'll just use this until it breaks. But at this point, I'm really just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm just shooting uphill, so I skipped ahead a couple minutes, really just not even moving at all, just continuing to fire up there. But I'm going to actually activate the turret up here because it looks like it has gone down due to taking damage. And then I'm going to actually show you how you could, by getting in and out of the vehicle here, you could see how your shield strength is doing. So if your shield is kind of crackling or staticky, it looks like electricity is going up and down your body, that means your shield is totally gone. But if you don't see that effect happening at all on your body, then that means that your shield is at least somewhat intact. So that's good news if you don't see it. And you can actually see it in a better, more easy to see view by going into the turret of the Wraith, which I don't really recommend that much, at least in this position, because somebody could come right around the corner as I'm getting out and then getting into the turret. So I'd be kind of vulnerable. But I'm going to show you anyway because who cares? I'm going to risk it. You could just back up way further so you're safer, but I'm just going to show you right here. So just hop out and then hop into this turret, and then you could see your third-person point of view camera could show you your body, and you could see if you have crackling happening over your shield, which would mean you have no shield. But it looks like I do not have that, so my shield is at least somewhat intact. So that is good news for me. I thought I took more damage at this point in the mission, so I am going to be a little more aggressive now. I was kind of staying back. That was the main reason I was kind of staying super far away. I thought I was low on health and shield, but we've been in this wave for a while. There has been no new enemies introduced, so we are going to probably find the next wave is coming very soon. So you want to keep your ears open for either Halsey dialogue or the music change. And as I say the music change, the music just changed. So we're going to go back to that area that we like to be in at the start of each wave where we're totally safe and we actually are in a good flanking position ourselves instead of being in a position to be flanked. We like to be the flankers here. So we're going to hang out here like we like to do, be snug up and in this rock here, and then that Phantom will come in and drop off whoever he has to drop off. And remember, we want to wait for that Phantom to leave entirely. We're not going to just, start in on these guys as they come out of the Phantom, because that Phantom's gun will kill you pretty quickly, actually. Surprisingly quickly, actually. So we're going to wait for those guys to drop down. We could still just, antagonize this Phantom just sitting here by shooting them with this Wraith, but you could also try to actually be productive and shoot the enemies as they come out of the Wraith, or not the Wraith, as they come out of the Phantom. That's not a Wraith. We're in a Wraith. So now that the Phantom has left and gone on its merry way, we are going to move forward and take these guys from behind. Again, you want to prioritize the Ghosts because those guys could do a lot of damage. But on top of the Ghosts, we're actually going to have to deal with a perhaps more dangerous enemy. 2 Hunters are dropped off towards the left where we hijacked the Wraith from in the beginning of this mission, or the beginning of this section of the mission. But we talked about this before. We want to make sure that we're not being flanked. We want to make sure that we're not being pinched. Getting pinched, getting flanked, not good. No one likes it. We are going to want to keep all of the enemies in front of us. We don't want to have to worry about multiple angles. So just stay back here. You might be tempted to move up and speed things along, but especially now with the Wraiths, or not the Wraiths, especially now with the Hunters in play, those guys could kill you real quick. So we're just going to stay back, continue firing, and I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here because I'm really just kind of hanging back here and doing the same thing, just firing from a long distance and slowly and surely killing all these guys. But Halsey just came over the radio again and said the package is almost ready, just a little more. So at that point, it's another instance where Halsey said something, so we're going to go back to this position like we like to do and just wait for this Phantom to drop off the last wave of enemies, or part of the last wave of enemies, because obviously we have other Phantoms landing elsewhere. But we're just going to hang out here, again, get nice and snug in this rock here, this little tiny mountain, and we'll wait for the Phantom to come in. We could hear the music is now playing. It's going to start picking up, and we will be in the intense final wave of the battle here, of the mission. So we're just going to hang here, being patient. There he is. And this Phantom will actually drop off a Wraith, so we want to let him drop off the Wraith, have the Phantom leave, and we want to kind of stay back here for a little bit because the Wraith kind of does a 360 spin. It'll look uphill, and then it will kind of do a little spin before really getting set into position, before it really gets locked into just firing at Halsey's lab and ignoring everything else. So we're just going to let it move up there. It kind of moves forward a little bit, then turns around and comes back, and then it'll spin back around so it's facing away from us. So this is good because A, he's not looking at us, so he can't fire at us, but also B, the weakest point of the Wraith is the backside. So we just, shoot it a couple times in the back, and then we will take him out and move forward to the next area up here. But really at this point it's just continuing what we've been doing, which is firing from far away in the safe position, kill enemies slowly but surely. You're going to get through the mission, and then remember that you don't actually have to take out all of the enemies in this wave. Once you take out enough enemies, there will be some dialogue from Dr. Halsey saying something along the lines of, hey, we're done here, Spartan, come to the lab, pick up the package. The package is Cortana, by the way, and bring her to the Pillar of Autumn. She doesn't say all that, but she'll say something to indicate, hey, pack it up, we're done here. But I'm going to take this opportunity to skip ahead again about a minute because really we're just standing here and firing up at the top of the hill for the entire duration of the end of this mission here. So same old thing at this point. But once you hear Halsey come over the radio and say, well done, Spartans, I'm opening the laboratory door, that means that you have completed the objective of defending the lab for long enough, and you've killed enough enemies that you could go up there and activate the switch and trigger the cutscene and finish the mission. Another indication that you've completed the objective is the fact that on the top of the screen, it will say objective completed. So there you go. And this is when Halsey says, well done, Spartans, I'm opening the laboratory door, and then we could hop out of our Wraith, and we're not out of the woods yet. We're done with the objective, but we do still have to go activate the switch, and we still can die. There are still enemies alive, so we want to be careful. We're going to go over here, just jetpack up, and we're going to go behind this building, so we're totally safe behind here. But you do want to be aware of the fact that the Wraith bombs that are coming from the other side of the map, those Wraith bombs tend to hit in this general area, so you want to just keep an eye out for those. But otherwise, this is a safer path than going just straight up the middle, because over here, there are no enemies, while going straight up the middle, there's probably a bunch of other enemies still over there. But just head up to the top there and activate that switch, which will trigger the cutscene. The mission will conclude. That was Part 8, The Package. Join me next time for the final installment in the series, The Pillar of Autumn, Part 9 of 9. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You can also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.